Yeah, man, we've come to the day where we are going to talk about a rapper who has been the source of a lot of contention and arguments on this podcast, especially.
J. Cole?
I remember in the first episode when I said I liked one of this guy's songs, and Peter tried to say that I did not like one of those songs.
Absolutely
I don't know
didn't.
why I didn't snuff him there and then, but we move. So we're going to get into a very...
You still
I
don't like
suppose-
us like that, man.
A very... Can you let me
Continue,
talk?
continue.
You want to let me talk? You want to let me talk?
Yo, continue the
You want to let me
intro,
talk?
man. Continue.
You want to let me
It's
talk?
absolute villain.
I'll throw the mic at you, bruv. Anyway, we're going to get into a deep assessment over the career and legacy of one Marshall Mathers, Eminem, Slim Shady. I think those are all his names. Yeah, I don't even know where we start, to be honest, because obviously
where do you
he's
start?
he's a certified legend in my view.
Isn't he like the highest selling of all time as well, rapper?
That's
100%,
believable. It's believable.
100%.
He's definitely a legend.
Easily one of the nicest to do it.
Easily.
And obviously there's a bit of contention because of what he used to be and what he is now. And whether that affects his legacy or whether that affects his impact. So I'm just going to open up the floor, guys. What do we think of Eminem and his career?
Shall I go first?
Peter, just go first, man.
Oh yeah, I feel like Pete's could spark a good debate. Go on. I want to hear what Peter's got to say.
Before you say anything, audience, I want you to know that even though Peter has been shitting on Eminem, all of these episodes of the podcast, he came into the studio today to be like, "Oh, I'm going to take it easy on Eminem today." Fam, no, you're not.
Yo, just say your truth.
I mean, M's a great lyricist, always has been, and he's still a decent rapper. My only issue with M is I just feel as though he's overrated. I've kind of always felt that way. I feel like because of his skin color, he's been propelled to a status that I don't feel like is necessarily fair. I feel like there are a lot of MCs that lyrically can do what he do. They may not be able to make the pop songs, but lyrically they can do what he does. But they haven't been able to be propelled as much. And obviously that's not M's fault, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, I don't know, man. Like I loved Eminem growing up. I'm not gonna act like I didn't. I loved Eminem growing up, man. Like Stan, like is still to me, one of the greatest hip hop songs ever. The storytelling on that is perfect. Like lyrically, that song is perfect. The Slim Shady LP, I loved that project. Marshall Mathers LP, I loved it. Eminem Show was decent too. I think that's when it started going downhill for me.
Eminem Show was his last great album, I think.
Yeah.
I agree.
Okay, fine. You can say that.
That was an amazing album.
You can say that. Encore, nah. And then I stopped listening after Encore. I'm going to be real. And then I came back round when he dropped Relapse.
Recovery?
No, Relapse.
Relapse, okay.
Yeah, Relapse. I tried to listen to Relapse when he was experimenting with all the different accents and stuff. And then after that, I was done. So I don't even have too much beef
Did you
with
listen
him.
to Kamikaze, the latest one?
I won't listen to Eminem's albums no more. I won't lie to you.
You should give
His
it a go.
music,
Period.
Do you know? Yeah, when I was younger, I could probably take it in a lot more. I was more open-minded. As I've gotten older, the content that Eminem kind of spits about, I just can't really relate to, and it just doesn't appease me. I think even musically, the musicality of his music just doesn't do much for me anymore. So I'm not really big on M. You know, I salute his legacy. He's always going to be one of the greatest lyricists to me. I just don't rate him as highly as everyone else. That's the only issue. Because I think everyone rates him so highly. I think people get onto me when they hear that I don't rate him as highly. Because it's just like someone, for example, not rating Jay or Nas highly. M's in that, he's in that ballpark as well, isn't it? I just don't rate him as highly as everyone else.
You also want him away from you and your family.
Oh yeah, his music, yeah, nah. I'm not trying to hear like Kim in 2019. But like maybe like 20 years ago, that was amazing to me. Like the storytelling behind that was just amazing.
Yeah.
Like it was horrorcore. It was just great. It was just great.
It was like a movie in
Yeah,
a
you know what I'm
CD.
saying? But that's all. Like I respect Eminem, man. That's all it is. I
You
don't.
should definitely give his latest album, Kamikaze, a go. It feels like it's Eminem back with a bit of fire in the belly again.
Okay.
Going at a lot of people that have said stuff about him, critics and whatnot. And it's not, he's got rid of them stupid accents and talking nonsense about this and that. And he's just addressing what people have addressed about him.
But even with the thing with that, I feel as though he hasn't really been in any like rap beefs with anybody respectable. I feel like even with
I
going
agree.
at people,
I agree.
even with going at people, he always goes after the Britney Spears, the Limp Bizkits.
But in his defense,
But he ain't barring people that have sent for him.
who sent for him with that bars?
There's been a couple indirects that if you're a rap fan, you will catch.
I get it,
Nas
but-
has sent a couple cheeky jabs at him.
Nas has done a few.
And
people,
M didn't
but
want
I'm
it.
saying, but has anyone physically actually out, or is it just a little cheeky 1-2 jabs?
Nas sent a couple 1-2 jabs. I think even with
What did
Royce the
Nas
5'9", when it was, I can't remember, it was a tune.
Where's the
on
5
God's
for
Son.
Eminem?
They had beef.
Yeah, they have
Oh,
beef.
they had
Yeah.
beef for-
Where they fell out and stuff. And obviously, I'm not going to put it down to M being shook.
Mm.
Maybe it's just respected the friendship too much. But what I'm saying is, he hasn't really gotten into any sort of combat with
Anyone
anyone.
that yeah.
He
respected.
hasn't. Like Benzino, Ja Rule, Mariah Carey, and Nick Cannon.
You could say
know what I mean?
Cannabis,
Yeah.
but Cannabis was even at the
Cannabis at
end
that
of
point
his.
wasn't anybody like that.
Yeah.
Like that. Not respected Cannabis. He wasn't.
But what does it prove? What does it prove about Eminem if he does?
I feel like you could then maybe talk about more about his lyrical ability as far as his competitors are concerned.
I don't feel like beef.
Who? Okay, let me ask you a question. Who was better on Renegade?
M.
That's not even a clear cut thing to me because
I think it is.
Jay was talking. All right,
Jay
let
was
me,
not. Jay
let me
was
answer the
very
question.
nice on that
Eminem
too.
had the better verse.
There was 2 verses each.
Eminem's
Verses were better than Jay's.
Yeah,
But Jay was still talking his shit.
of course he was. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's it, man. I'm not hating on M, man. I don't like this narrative.
I'm kind of the same, but not really in the sense of like I loved his first 3 albums, front to back. Encore, I liked. Relapse, I wasn't too keen on it, but it's Eminem. I'm gonna give him another go. Hated Recovery,
Don't do that.
and I haven't been back since.
I
But
wasn't a fan of.
I liked Recovery
I didn't
more than I liked
Recovery.
Encore and
What about
Relapse.
Marshall Mathers LP 2?
I didn't like that.
Yeah, I hate.
I liked the on in that.
I liked Rap
mix.
God. Rap God was cool
I
because
hate-
that kind of showed me that he can do this.
Bro, I
He
hated
gets
that
busy.
song. I hated Rap God. You know that.
Damn.
The 8 minutes of. I didn't like it.
Fair enough.
But this is my issue.
And even that album, sorry to cut you
Nah,
off,
mine,
Mo,
mine,
I think
mine.
that was the Marshall Mathers LP too.
Yeah, I didn't.
That album was produced by my man, Beastie Boys. What's his name?
Beastie Boys.
Rick Rubin.
All right.
Swear.
And that album should have been sick.
Rick Rubin produced it.
And I gave a couple tunes, like a couple listens, and it just wasn't it for me.
If Eminem stopped rapping after Eminem Show, he would have been my favorite rapper of all time.
Yeah. To be fair, for me, he still is my favorite of all time, just because of those 3 albums. And there's never been an artist whose album has gripped me so much as the Marshall Mathers LP. And I think it's just because his story was so different to anything else you was hearing. Like, okay, Jay-Z, sick, Nas, sick, but you was getting the same stories just from a different perspective with those guys. Eminem, you was getting a completely different story, something you'd never heard before, and someone that really, really did not give a shit to say anything about anyone or anything. There was no secrets or anything with his whole life. You know what I mean? It was so laid out bare that, you know,
It is what it is.
yeah. And I don't think anyone's ever done that the way that he did.
So like you feel like there was like an honesty.
Definitely,
And an
yeah.
earnestness that
and a
we hadn't
ruthlessness,
seen.
a ruthlessness. So I'm gonna say this, and I don't give a fuck what anyone thinks.
The reason why.
Yeah, and it's like
I
it
think
was
it's been
great
done
back
before.
then. It was
Before
great.
Not
Eminem,
to
I
that
think-
extent.
I think Tupac. was
Okay, yeah.
extremely honest.
He was.
We saw everything. He addressed
Yeah.
everything that he ever dealt with.
Yeah,
I hear what you're saying,
but
though.
there's a lot of
think to a
Tupac
certain extent.
influence in Eminem.
Well, Tupac.
Yeah, you can tell that he's very, very highly influenced by Tupac. I think on some of his,
And it's not
especially
when
songs
it's-
like Soldier.
Yeah. And obviously Eminem was a lot more graphic with
Yeah,
things than anyone really.
Yeah.
I think my thing is he's always been kind of like goofy
Mm.
because of the things he's rapped about. I suppose now because the subject matter was better with the first 3 albums, now that he doesn't have as much to rap about, the goofiness shows a lot more, and that might affect your opinion of him, especially if he can't make good music or good albums. I think generally, like as an artist, he's always been someone who's been very like hands-on, or in the latter part, like wanting to produce and stuff like that. I think that's hindered him because I don't think he's that great of a producer or anything like that. I think if he'd stayed with like Dre or like just like better producers, then we might be saying something different about him as well. It's a bunch of different things, man. But you can't take away his lyrical ability.
No.
No, he's
At all.
one of the
You
nicest.
feel like I was doing that?
Yeah, to a certain extent. I feel like sometimes you do. I feel like he's goofy.
In a
You forget
sense.
how nice Eminem is with it.
I think if you listen to his new album, Kamikaze, I think it's definitely worth giving a listen to. to hear. Lyrically and flow wise, he comes completely different to how he's come before. It's on some songs, it's almost like he's showing off. He's showing off how he can put words together and flow and rhyme and still make it make sense and put jibes in at people. Literally, it feels like he's done this album on some songs to just take the piss,
Just to still prove he's got
just to show off. Yeah, this is what I can do.
My only issue with him.
Sorry, before you answer that, Mo, can I ask how you guys feel like I'm taking away from his lyrical ability?
I feel like
I don't personally think you did. To be
I
fair.
feel like knowing you, sometimes your I won't say anger towards Eminem because it's not, but like your dislike towards Eminem shadows how nice he is at rapping. Do you get what I'm saying? That's natural though.
I agree.
If you don't like someone, or whether you don't like them, I'm not gonna say you don't like them, but once it is what it is, like you don't care about that person anymore, you can't help but be like, you can't help it. It's just human nature.
And if you don't like the content, that's gonna help too.
Exactly.
No, but I disagree with that because content or not, whether he talks about chopping up his baby mum and putting her in a boot or not, like, I still love him lyrically. I've always loved Eminem lyrically. I just don't rate him as highly as everyone else. I don't think that's me taking away from how great lyrically he is. Because, come on, man, like we're all heads here. Like we can't. There's no way you could take away from how nice M is. Like, that's impossible.
Maybe it's the way you.
I think I joke a lot.
It's the way you word.
It's the way you word. It's the way you word things.
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
It's your demeanor when we talk about Eminem. You instantly like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you go mad. You go mad. So it's like,
no, you could do that. You could do that again. He could.
you know what I'm saying? He goes, you know what
I
I'm saying?
disagree, man. I just feel like
Sorry.
He takes off a fedora and goes,
So do you two guys, because it's just going off something Peter touched on when he was first talking about Eminem, do you guys think that Eminem being white helped him get higher than he should have been? Or
100%.
That plays a factor in life.
100%.
That's just, it goes hand in hand.
He hit an audience that other rappers hadn't even scratched back then.
'Cause you
White
need to-
kids in the suburbs who maybe didn't want too much of the black shit, but here's this white rapper, beach blonde hair, who's rapping out the sort of things that I feel like, fuck you, mom, like, fuck you,
But
this
like,
girl,
what-
this,
yeah.
that, and the other.
but does it take away from his niceness?
No. I'm
No,
just saying
no.
the reason why he
No,
got propelled to
no,
where
at
he is. What other rapper could speak about what he spoke about when he first came in and gone that high that quick? Normally rappers
I think
come
a
out
lot,
with
I think a lot
like
of it
even
was Dre as well. He had Dre behind
no,
him.
but I'm just saying rap about like say J. Cole for example. J. Cole came out with like workout can't get enough, and then he started doing what he really wanted.
I think that just happens for
Eminem
white
came
rappers.
out talking about killing his mum, and he still got propelled to where he got.
I think
propelled
that just
to.
happens for white rappers.
That's wild.
It's the same thing for the Beastie Boys. The Beastie Boys were popular and was commercially successful because they were marketable to a white audience, whereas their black peers like Run DMC, even though they were doing great, weren't as much because of the same reason. I think it's the same thing with Eminem. I think it's the same thing with like any white rapper, really.
Who's that big, the big fat white rapper that come out with Timberland?
Bubba Sparks.
Yeah. So what about him then? Why wasn't he?
It was
It plays hand in hand. Eminem was nice.
Okay, yeah.
Eminem,
so
great
being
music.
white as well, you
It
get
just
judged
helps. It just
even harder as
furthers
well,
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
If you're
Don't get me
rubbish.
wrong. If you're white, like there's been a lot of white rappers that ain't been nice and haven't gone anywhere because it goes hand in hand.
Yeah,
like
so it works the other way
Yeah,
as
like
well.
H isn't the first UK white rapper, but H is nice with it.
Yeah.
That's why he's getting to the level he's getting to. Eminem, for me, if he stopped rapping after, like I said, it would have been one of the nicest. Maybe my favorite, but one
He's
of the
still
nicest.
one of the nicest.
No, I'm just saying he would have been. If he stopped after 2003, he would have been.
'cause
Arguably
you'd
top
have no
five.
negatives
Do
on
you know
him.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Arguable top 5 of all time. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So when you're that good, so we're saying his first 3 albums, he was looking at a top 10 rapper of all time. When you're that good, and then white people could be like, we can cling on to that guy because like we've got someone just as good as everyone else. It goes all, and then the music was still backing him up as well.
Yeah.
His cheesy songs were still good songs.
And there's some rappers out there you can see they just see words differently.
Yeah.
Eminem sees words and the dictionary differently to a lot of people. Like, have you guys seen the extended, deleted rap battle scenes from 8 Mile?
No, never seen him.
Where
He battled Marv 1.
Oh, swear.
Yeah,
So-
he battled Marv 1.
during the filming, they saw like
Yeah,
the
I've seen
crowd
that,
doing
yeah.
loads of battles between themselves. So they wanted to film some bits just to put as like skits in between. And to cut a long story short, they picked 3 or 4 people out of the crowd to battle Eminem, but Eminem had to just mime and pretend because they weren't going to use the audio. So these rappers were able to spit at Eminem, and they had time to write and prepare as well. So they spat these bars at Eminem, and he had to kind of mime. And then the first time he done it, the crowd was like, cool. And then the second time, the guy come at him and like cussed Eminem's mum. Eminem started miming and he heard the crowd start booing. Eminem turns the mic on and you see the guy's soul leave his body when he sees Eminem
It was-
turn the mic on, and he bodies him off the top of his head, 3 of them in a row. and just bodies them.
And what's
off the
crazy,
top
He's
of
a battle
the-
rapper though, Eminem,
Cra-
isn't he?
Huh?
Eminem's a
He
battle
came
rapper.
from
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
They
yeah.
came from that.
What's crazy is one of the guys in that cutscene is a guy called Marv One, who's a battle rapper.
Is that the big guy?
Yeah, the big fat one. That's a legit
When he
battle
says, Let me
rapper.
place the mic right
Yeah,
here,
yeah,
puts it
yeah.
between his titties.
And he's a legit battle rapper,
Yeah.
and he kind of bodied, not even kind
Yeah.
of, he bodied Marv One. But
Yeah.
like,
But even what M does lyrically, I feel like Pharoah Monch does the same thing. So I don't understand why. So my critique
As
comes
critique-
in as to why someone like a Pharoah Monch
Because
ain't
Pharoah
mentioned in
Monch,
the.
Pharoah Monch doesn't make popular music.
that's what he
And it's
that's-
Yeah, but I'm
and
t-
content
that's all it
as
is.
well.
Yeah, but even lyrically, like M's respected lyrically for what he does, and he's propelled quite high. Someone like a Pharoah Monch, I feel like should equally be propelled as high.
But his music doesn't.
Yeah, but also like people like Pharoah Monch, they just keep quiet. They just do their stuff and move on. They don't make
M
noise.
keeps quiet too. We don't hear
Eminem.
from M unless he drops an album. The guy he's been dropping an album and then disappearing for the last
Yeah,
10
but when
years.
he
When
drops
Eminem
it,
He hasn't
came
always
out,
been
big
that way. He
news.
hasn't always been that way.
when Eminem first came out, he was flooding the scene.
Was he? Would you say flooding the scene? He had the machine
I mean,
behind him doing it for him.
Not
But
flooding the scene, but like he knew what he was in. When you're
Yeah,
first
because he
song is
had
high, man,
Marshall Mathers LP coming out, or was it Slim Shady LP? And then you had the Dre album dropping at similar times. So he was on his stuff. Then he was on Forgot About Dre. You know what I
he
mean?
was
So
doing a lot.
He was out.
doing a lot for the
He was
first
out
three,
and about.
4
Yeah.
years. He was doing a lot.
those are great times too.
Yeah, great time. Probably one of my favorite times in hip
Yeah.
hop back then.
The
Definitely.
box.
The only reason why Eminem isn't, there's not another rapper that's had in my opinion, as a bad a run as Eminem ever.
It's bad a run.
Yeah,
As far as like albums.
yeah. If his last good album to me was 2003, and we're now 2019, what rappers had as bad as run as the Eminem?
None come to mind right
That's
now.
that level.
Yeah, but I feel like even that, and
On
I'm
that
gonna,
level.
I'm gonna defend M in that respect because Recovery was a good album. So you're probably thinking about because
I said I like Recovery.
yeah, but because
I'm
Slim
just saying-
Shady LP was
yeah,
so
yeah,
good,
yeah,
Marshall
yeah,
Mathers was
yeah,
so
yeah,
good.
yeah.
Those are like
Eminem show-
classics.
Definitely.
They're definitely classics.
Definitely
I
classic.
think because he hasn't made music that has reached those heights, you're throwing that
yeah,
in his
yeah.
run.
Which is
I like-
probably
But
why-
in between that, he's had decent albums.
I don't think I
And
like.
then he's had some god awful albums too.
To me, the only good one was
Shout out Walk on
Recovery,
Water.
and I said that earlier because he had Talking to Myself, Not Afraid. No, he had a few songs that, but it wasn't like it's Eminem, bro. Like we've all clarified how good he's at
and as
rapping.
much as I wasn't really a fan of Relapse, it still, you put the album on and it still made me laugh.
Mm.
You know what I mean? There's still songs on there that made me laugh.
I get it's like
I think it's a special case when, especially if we're assessing a legend, even if they've been on a bad run, because they were on such a good run to begin with, it's kind of hard to take away from the legacy.
Yeah.
You can create and put out 10 trash albums if you put out 3 back-to-back classics. I don't think it necessarily matters.
it can't be a fluke.
Because you can ignore...
No, 3 albums ain't
no,
true.
I think it
Three
matters.
albums
I'm
ain't
joking.
true.
I'm joking. I'm just saying shit. What you say?
I think it can matter. I think if Jay-Z's next 5, 6, 7 albums are really bad,
Then Jay-Z not the best.
I
My
think
favorite
Yeah,
anymore.
but Jay-Z's had
it's
some
gonna.
albums
I
that
think
weren't
it's gonna
great.
matter in a sense.
Jay-Z's had some albums
Because
that weren't
Eminem would have
great,
been.
though.
What
Yeah,
you
for
say?
sure. But I think the number's very small.
Is that
Yeah,
your,
but
is
he-
that going to affect your opinion of Jay-Z?
No, but that's a personal favorite.
I think it was. It would definitely.
Not
affect
for me,
mine.
but that's a personal favorite. Though.
If Jay-Z
Jay's
dropped-
already cemented in my personal favorite.
If
rappers.
Jay-Z
I don't
dropped
know, man.
5 bad albums in a row, I'm definitely looking at Jay-Z like, what you playing at?
Yeah, but Jay's still giving us more great albums than he has. Even if the next 5 are bad, he's
Hmm.
still giving us more great albums than he has bad. But
still
with Eminem, you may not be able to say that. Because if only 3 or 4 Eminem
Yeah, but
albums have been
still,
great,
yo.
he's released like how many albums?
If,
So he's been
Those
bad longer than he's
three
been
albums
good.
Those three-
were so vital to my life.
But that's why we're
at
having
the time.
that literally
that-
shows you how good he is, though.
Yeah,
But I also think people are
get
still
what I'm
going to call Jay-Z the greatest, even if he does have like 5 or 6 bad
Yeah.
albums.
I
But
personally
that, yeah, but
won't.
that greatest title is going to come from things outside of the music.
If Jay,
I don't think so.
Nah, I
Bro,
don't
you'd
think
be
so.
surprised. A lot of people don't even rate Jay as a lyricist like that.
what?
I get that.
A rapper's head.
Yeah, bro. A lot of them
A
don't.
hip hop head.
Bro, I'm telling you, man. Because
in
even when I
general-
was out in New York, like I had a couple like discussions with some people at barbershops and that. A lot of people don't rate Jay lyrically like that.
How?
I think because
I
they see
generally don't know.
the commercial songs and all that. They just, I guess,
Yeah,
take
But
that's
we could probably
different
say
though,
the
so
same
they're
thing
not-
about Eminem then.
Yeah, because then they're
No, people
judging
don't-
him for something else, and they're not actually then looking at the lyrics as separately as their own thing to see, is he all right? He's got a couple of commercial tunes, but does that mean he's still not nice with it?
yeah, I mean that's a valid question, but there's some people, I guess, the commercial songs take away from the artistry and I guess what the artist can do lyrically. Maybe that's also the case in M's case sometimes. Like when he's got songs like I don't even know where to go. Where else?
Nah, this looks like a job for me.
Yeah, even that tune,
everybody
mad corny,
just
but
follow me.
you know, I still
I
wouldn't.
like that song, man.
But
I still wouldn't be
That's not
dumb
a
enough
corny
to say that
song.
he can't rap.
Would you?
bro.
That's not a corny song.
I like that song.
Lyrically,
I'm
that
sorry, I
song
like
is
that.
unbelievable.
Corny to me.
Lyrically,
Yeah.
that song lyrically, without me, lyrically and flow wise,
Yo,
everything
fam,
is unbelievable.
I like that song. Honestly, I genuinely like that song.
Yeah.
That was corny to me.
Nah, 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 nah.
Without me,
that-
it's corny.
even
to
that's
me.
corny.
Nah, nah, nah.
Wow.
I think M's quite corny though.
Does
I think
M-
a lot of his
I got a question.
hits or the popular songs are corny, but I guess they're going to be if they're gonna like appeal to like the masses.
Now, Eminem has.
I guess you need a bit of corn.
But you accept that he's barring in those songs.
What songs? The Real
Without
Slim Shady
Me,
he's barring.
Without Me, Real Slim Shady,
How does Without Me go again?
Superman.
Superman, he barred.
Superman is hard.
Superman, he barred. Straight from the hit, cut to the chase,
Out to the mouth,
slap to her face, play no games,
Say no names.
He's still
Ever
barring,
since
man.
what's
Despite
her
it being
face,
corny, he's still
different
barring.
ass.
But again, we're talking about a
Yeah.
different time. Now, I think he's still barring, but the corniness might overweigh.
Nah,
The
see,
corn-
Kamikaze,
the lyrical.
Kamikaze, the corniness has gone.
I genuinely need to listen to
Corny.
Kamikaze.
But that was a
This is
reaction to a corny album, right?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
he
But
had to-
Kamikaze, the corniness has gone now. It's back to just rapping,
But
being
then,
a lyricist, rapping flow, and it's almost like how much can I play with my flow now
okay,
on this album? You know what I mean? It's like how many syllables can I fit into one bar and still make it sound nice? His approach to this Kamikaze album feels different to the way he's approached any other album.
But that's why he dropped Kamikaze. He dropped Kamikaze
Yeah.
out of blue just because people were shitting on his previous album. I got a question. Does Eminem have 3 classics or 2?
3.
I think he's got 3.
Yeah, but
What do you think?
it's a tough conversation because even the word classic, like,
What is a classic?
it's
Yeah.
funny to me, man.
I generally feel like I think Marshall Mathers LP's
100%.
He's got
it's a
2
classic.
flawless albums to me.
So that's classics. If
Not
it's
necessarily. Flawless don't equal classic.
Flawless. When you win Walk About Flawless Victory, yeah.
Bro,
That
flawless
means,
for
that
me.
means you've won the best you could win.
For me, flawless don't equal classic. Classic is more about
What's
the
the
time.
difference?
Classic is more like how it affects like the actual culture and
Nah,
how it
because
shifts things and
you said something's a cold.
and time, like what it does time wise. Just because those flawless albums doesn't mean they're classics. Ready to
Marshall
Die,
Mathers
Ready to
was-
Die for me, Biggie is flawless, but it aged very badly, which takes away from the classic aspect of it.
Marshall Mathers LP is definitely a classic.
I think they're all classics.
I
Man.
think all 3 are classics personally.
Yeah, but Marshall Mathers LP is for me is without a doubt a classic.
Oh, that's his. That's
for me.
up
That's
there.
not even a
That-
debate.
I don't think that is.
That's
as
his
well.
best album. For
That
sure.
was a moment in time.
Yeah,
That definitely shifted the culture.
yeah.
100%.
yeah.
In what way?
Stan, we now associate
Okay,
He got a
Super
whole word in
fans
the
with
dictionary.
Stan.
He got a whole word in the
The
dictionary.
way I am.
where I am.
that was brilliant.
Oh, he bodied that song, bruv.
That just shut up every single critic or anyone who had anything to say about
Yeah,
him at the
because
time.
even like the 3rd verse, he was speaking about I think the media and
Yeah.
how they think he's black, and then one verse he's talking about fans.
Yeah.
Like, leave me alone. I'm not your everyday white boy that you see like NSYNC and stuff like that.
Mm.
Yo, he bodied the way I
That was a
am,
great
bruv.
album, man. Amityville, Remember Me.
Remember Me, yeah. See that, and it's, do you know what? It's
Yeah.
funny that you say those 2 tunes as well, because a lot of people that I'd speak to about that album say that those 2 tunes are their least favorite tunes and are the 2 skippable tunes on that album. But Amityville, his second verse on that is probably one of the best verses he does on the album for me. Love that.
Yeah, no, that was dope, man.
Like, he got busy, man. I think he's got 3 classics.
And Eminem show were like cleaning up my closet, sing for the moment,
White America,
White America, Business, Superman,
Soldier,
Soldier,
Saying Goodbye to Hollywood.
Haley's song.
I love that song.
Yeah, Saying Goodbye to Hollywood.
Toy Soldier
yeah.
on that one.
Till I Collapse
Toy
as
Soldier,
well.
wasn't it?
Square Dance. That
Encore.
album's full of
What's that?
amazing tunes.
That was on
Encore.
Encore, innit?
Which one?
Toy Soldier, that was on Encore with the whole roses petals.
Yeah.
But even Encore had bangers.
Yeah,
man.
Encore did have
Like
bangers, but I
Evil
would-
Deeds, had Toy Soldiers. I was like that.
Now I got a question.
Um,
I got a question. We know where Eminem's for you.
Mm.
You're number 1. Where does Eminem rank for everyone else here?
I'd probably put it in my top 20.
Top 20.
Probably in my top 20.
Wow.
For me
Melo
personally,
sounds appalled.
for me personally, I
that's
just
bad?
love so many more rappers than
You
Eminem.
think that's bad? Hey, Peter, where'd you put him?
I've got him in my like.
Okay, so he's something wild.
Nah, probably got him in like my top 25. That's like a non-biased. This is not my personal favorite. It's just an objective
Yeah,
list of great rappers.
yeah.
M's probably in my top 25.
Okay.
Oh, we're talking just objectively as far as rapping ability.
Yeah.
Oh, he's top 10 for me.
I was
No, not just rapping ability, everything.
He's top 10 for me.
Okay, we're just talking just
What are
overall.
you talking about?
But we're talking about overall.
I thought lyrically.
Oh, lyrically, then yeah, you could argue he's top 10.
I'll say he's top 10.
You can argue.
Overall, he's still top 10 for me.
You could argue that.
For me, he's still Eminem. For me, he's top 10.
Objectively, overall,
He's top 10.
I think he's still top 20 with me.
Nah, he's
20,
top
20
10.
to 25.
He's top 10 for me. Easy. Top 10.
I can list a lot of rappers that I feel like rap better.
But do they make better songs than him?
Just rap better.
We're talking about totality.
Totality. Yeah, I'll throw him in there. 25.
You can name 25 people that made better songs and can rap better.
100%.
Right,
They may not sell as much as him.
All right, mate.
They may not sell as much as him, but I feel like they make better music.
Yeah, I think it's a valid argument.
I got Eminem. I think Eminem very easily top 10. Very easily.
For me, he is. Yeah.
Is he my favorite top 10? That's a different argument. But if I'm taking my favorite away from me, just purely looking at it from the eyes of hip hop, yeah, man, it's hard to outdo 3 classics.
I've just never felt like he makes amazing music.
Whoever you name hasn't got, in my opinion, 3 classics. For you to have 3 classics in hip hop is how many people can have done that?
There's probably about 10, maybe.
I've got 3
There's not that
classics.
many.
Yeah.
There's not that many.
There's about
I don't think there's 10.
And
I think I can list
10 rappers that have got
deeper
3
as well, though.
classics.
It's not just 3 classics. It's your first 3
Yeah,
albums
like
as well.
in a row.
Okay,
Besides-
I don't
in
know
a
how
row.
many people.
The
have
only
done
person
that.
that, there's only one rapper I know that's done that. Because I don't count Kanye West.
What, 3 in a row?
Yeah, I think, because
Kendrick?
I don't count Kanye. I was going to say Kendrick. Who else has done it besides Kendrick?
Tribe,
Tribe definitely did it.
Outcast,
Outkast definitely did it.
De La Soul,
Solo rapper.
De La Soul definitely did
Solo
it.
rapper.
Solo rapper, guys.
So I can't say Mobb Deep.
Nah, solo rapper.
Nah, I wouldn't
Kendrick
say- I
is
wouldn't say
the
Mobb
only
Deep.
one that's done it.
I can't think of any.
That's my point. And Kendrick's in my top 5. That's, you see what I'm saying? When you drop 3,
It's hard, yeah. It's hard for a solo artist, dude.
That's what, yo, if we're talking solo, by the way, when I say where is he in your top, I mean solo rappers, by the way. You can't include like Outkast, Tribe, all of
Yeah,
them.
yeah,
Fine,
of course.
yeah, then that changes it.
Yeah. Then I think he's top 10 not quite easily, but I think he's top 10. I think it's fair to say top 10.
Yeah.
Taking albums into account, lyricism into account, him as a person, music.
But I'm not agreeing that M's got 3 classics, though.
I'm just saying to me personally.
Oh, okay.
To you, he's got 2 flawless and great.
I'm not agreeing with that third one being great.
Yeah,
What do you think Eminem
he's
show
not a
is?
massive fan of Eminem
It's good.
show.
All right, fair enough. I love the Eminem show. I'm not
Yeah,
gonna lie.
same.
I love the Eminem show.
I do wish he did better by the Slaughterhouses and the Griseldas as well. I feel like that could have helped his legacy as
That's
well.
behind the scene. You think people care about
I
that?
don't think that makes a difference.
I don't think people care
I know,
about
but personally speaking, I feel like he should have, because he made such an intention to showcase like the barras and didn't really do anything with
that. He
them.
didn't do nothing. He made
Like, he's always been about, seemingly he's always been about himself more so than the people he signed. And I think if you gave them a spotlight a lot more, it would have helped with the legacy a bit, because you would have influenced and, you know, fostered a generation of like barras just like you. But maybe that's just a personal preference.
And also, there's a reason why he's not that high on my list. He signed Yellow Wolf.
Yellow Wolf is hard, man.
Yellow Wolf's sick,
I
bro.
hate
Yellow Wolf can bar.
Bro, I hate Yellow
You
Wolf.
are missing out.
Yemi's
bruv.
been co-signing Yellow Wolf for years.
Yellow Wolf is hard.
Yellow
man.
Wolf's sick.
Yo, what do you say about
Yellow
him?
Wolf is
Keep
sick.
Yellow Wolf.
He had arguably the best verse on One Train.
Do you feel like his lack of collaborations kind of is a strike against his
I
legacy?
like that.
Nah.
I like
M.
that.
Yeah.
I prefer
His
that.
lack of let me rephrase that. Lack of collaborations with respected lyricists.
Yeah, but the only people he's only really collabed with, like the few people he's collabed with, what, Jay-Z,
Jay, Royce,
Snoop Dogg.
Yeah, respected lyricists though. Jay,
Yeah,
Royce.
it's been more pop stars, isn't it?
Slaughterhouse.
Has he got a
I
song
think
with Slaughterhouse?
he's got a track on one of their albums.
Conway. Well, recently.
I like that though. Like,
Why?
I don't know. Like, you remember when J. Cole never used to
Nicki.
feature with people's songs? I used to love that about J. Cole. Like,
And I think it's more
You don't
powerful
deserve
if you can hold an album, that many albums up, without having to bring in all these other, big name lyricists, and still cement yourself in there without having other people
Yeah.
carry you on the back.
Yeah.
I think that says even more about you.
But then I don't feel like
it's
if,
easy.
But I don't feel like if M was to do that, they'll feel like they're trying to carry him. I'm
No, he's
also-
saying it's easy for a rapper to get people on their album to carry the album.
Yeah, but I don't think M's ever been that type of artist, so I wouldn't apply that to him. I'm also saying from a competitive standpoint, like there are, I think, a few more greats that have lined themselves up with people that have like sick pen games as well, just to test their pens and see how good they are as well.
He genuinely
like
might just be an
Royce
introvert.
has rapped with Black Thought, Jay's rapped with Nas, Jay's rapped with M's rapped with Jay Fine, but I can't think of a bigger name or as big of a name as and respected lyrically like a Jay-Z that M's rapped with,
I
apart
don't think
from
that
Royce.
matters.
And I think I think about stuff like that. Like I want to hear my favorites kind of be on tracks with other respected lyricists. Kendrick and Pusha rapping together was great for me.
That's a personal preference, I think, than anything else. I don't think the amount of people that you spar with lyrically in any way enhances how we see you.
No, but what I'm saying is that like I think there's a bit of a for me. I'm putting a bit of a strike because he's not really. I feel like he's a bit of a shookhead. I'm not gonna lie. I think Em's shook.
Nah.
No,
I just
because
think
like
Eminem's an introvert, bro.
no, what?
Eminem. No, I'm just saying in terms of
Eminem's an
no.
introvert.
You know what I'm saying? I'm saying in terms of. Does Eminem even do interviews like that?
No,
Now.
no.
Eminem, you just don't see him.
Yeah, but bro, you're
He
you
just
don't-
makes his own
He
music.
done Jonathan Ross back in the day.
Back in the
yeah, don't apply
But
what
like,
he's
my
been
point
doing the last like 3-4 years to like a 20-year career, bro.
But also, I think it works the other way around as well, because when you hear a lot of like, there's a lot of rappers where you've seen people being asked questions. Like the only one interview that comes to mind is Game, but it's happened with
I know what
others.
you're about to say.
When they say like, who wouldn't you want to go against, or this and that, and the one name they always say is Eminem.
Do you think they're scared of him?
I don't think they're scared of him, no, but I don't think it's a case of Eminem being like, oh, I don't want to jump on a track with him because I'm not. Maybe he'll be better than me. I think a lot of other rappers see him in that way.
That's interesting.
Yeah, 100%.
I think maybe it probably works both ways. Probably works both ways.
And I mean, realistically speaking, like Eminem doesn't need that aspect. Really, he's already established. Like we know he can bar, even though it would sound good for him to be with these rappers on songs. It's not necessary. It's not necessary. I don't
You
think.
think Marshall Mathers LP, the only collabs on it was what? Dre, Snoop, D12, Exhibit, Nate Dogg, and it sold what?
I think Onyx on it as well.
Sorry?
I think Sticky Fingers was on it
Yes,
as well.
yeah. And it sold what? 155 something million.
Jeez.
So it says a lot. If you can carry them sort of sales on your own without having to put big names like, Jay-Z or Nas or anything else like that on there. Says a lot.
So what do you want from Eminem in 2019, if anything, Peter?
Oh, you're asking me?
I'm asking you.
Retirement.
Big facts. Big facts.
P45.
Big facts.
Do you know what? I think I would love to hear him over a bit more interesting production. I think getting with like, Just Blaze, for example, or like an Alchemist, maybe more Alchemist production.
Yeah, that makes a big difference.
Yeah, I just want to maybe hear him across different types of production. I think he's got the J. Cole syndrome where like he wants to produce everything himself, innit? I think where he was spoiled with having Dre at the beginning, and then obviously he learned how to do it himself. He became very self-sufficient. So maybe just more interesting production. But I'm gonna be real, man. I'm not checking for M music like that.
I'll be honest with you.
I would say though, have a listen to Kamikaze album, and then next time we link up,
just because you asked me to,
I genuinely
we'll have a
wanted to listen to
discussion
that.
about it,
I genuinely wanted you to listen to that.
but listen to it with an open mind. Yeah,
I still need to listen to
You
that
asked
too.
for too much. You asked for too much. You asked for too
Facts,
much.
man.
But I think we all should hear Kamikaze just come back with feedback. Because I need to still listen to Kamikaze as well.
Yeah, same.
it's definitely not a classic, but it's a lot different from
What
the
he's
bad
been dropping.
albums that we was
But
talking
you know what?
about.
I don't even search for the classics. I'm just happy with really good albums. Like I feel like we play so much like onus on classic, but just good music. I think time dictates whether it becomes a classic. I feel like people are so quick to say instant classic this, but I don't know if not. I feel like you need time. So even if it's not a classic, that's fine. If it's good,
it's one of the
album,
songs.
then
It's one of the songs on that album that sparked the whole MGK thing.
MGK bodied him, by the way.
What you think?
I
You
disagree
think
with
his
that.
one was better than Killshot?
a lot of people said that though.
No.
I disagree with
Yeah,
that.
I think it was a better song. Obviously, Eminem is a better lyricist.
Eminem.
But it's like
No,
it's
you're right.
It's
MGK
like
had
the
a better
Duppy, but it's like the Duppy Adidon debate for me. I think Duppy was a better song. I think Adidon was a better diss.
It's like Takeover Ether.
Yeah, exactly. Essentially, and that's how I feel about MGK and Eminem. I think Rap Devil was a better song, but Killshot was a better diss.
Yeah, but what are you looking for in a when you're listening to battle tracks? You're listening for you want the diss to be better.
I
Really,
want disrespect.
Yeah, of
The
course.
highest level.
and I think
Adidon
Killshot ripped. He tore MGK's song apart, bar for bar. Like he named the bars that he done, tore them apart, and then hit him back.
Yeah,
with
he did. Nah, but
You can still
counteractors.
look back at
Yeah.
it and think which one was the better song.
Yeah, true. Yeah,
You know what I mean? So that's how I.
yeah.
Killshot, Eminem bodied MGK just for whatever, for my opinion, and for whatever it's worth.
Yeah, like Takeover was a better song. Ether was a better diss.
Yeah.
I will always say that.
But yeah, man.
Well-
Shout out to Eminem though, man. We all kind of.
Yeah, big up M, man. Like he gave us 50, and we got that whole lineage. So
Yeah,
yeah,
he
man.
did give us 50, innit?
Yeah, man.
He gave us classics as well. Yes, he did. You've already established that Marshall Mathers is a classic, no?
I didn't say that. I said flawless.
And he gave
It's
us
a classic one.
He gave us all we tries.
He did give us other tries. Real name, no gimmicks.
Hey.